Shit 90 Shows Taught Me.
Shit 90 Shows Taught Me was not filmed before a live studio audience.
Are you ready to cause a flood in your coffee shop? Neither are we. Welcome back to Shit 90 Shows Taught Me. I'm Jess Sterling here with my co-host, Sarah Humphrey. Sarah, how are you?
Jess, I'm here for our therapy session. I just want you to repeat after me. I love my podcasting partner, but, and then you fill in the blank.
I love my podcasting partner, but she doesn't understand that I never will remember anything and gets very frustrated with me. My memory is so bad.
That's true.
That's true.
True.
Now it's your turn, Sarah. Go ahead. I love my podcasting partner, but
you know, it does have to do with the memory thing. Like, I love my podcasting partner, but she always like repeats my theories and ideas as her own, and it drives me up the wall crazy. So thank goodness we have a third today to be our couples therapist, our very special guest, Lindy, TV Lindy of the TV realm.
Yes, that's me. Thank you so much for having me. I will do my best to mediate here. We could do some role playing. You know, Jess could be Sarah. Sarah could be Jess. Let's see.
Oh, that could be interesting.
How that works out.
It won't go well. It won't go well.
No.
Let's start our biggest fight to date.
Yeah, exactly. We're talking about Felicity, season 3, episode 16, the penultimate episode of season 3. It's Raining Men. And we got a lot to dive into this episode. I have thoughts and feelings on the love triangle and where it's heading towards the end of the season. But first, Lindy, how have you been enjoying season 3 so far?
It's been there have been some ups and downs for sure.
Can we get an update on whose team you're on? Are you team Ben or are you team Noel?
Oh, I've always been team Ben. So we're winning right now.
That's because you're a pacey girly. Right?
I'm a pacey girly for life. Always have been, always will be. And Ben's the closest we have to pacey here on Felicity. So I'm a team Ben since the beginning. And honestly, I think it's going pretty well. They're really committed to each other, even with the Noel wrinkles here.
Yeah, this episode I thought was really fascinating, Sarah, because I was having a tough time being Team Ben last time. He did the whole bagel thing. I will never forgive him for that, truly.
Yeah, I know. I know.
But this episode is so fascinating because while I think the show is like, it's time for all the girlies to be Team Noel, I don't think they realized what they were doing this episode because Noel did some shit that I was not a fan of. So we'll get into all of it.
Well, suck it up, mother effers, because guess what? You might be Team Ben now, and she might be going to wherever the fuck with her Ben this summer. But I'm just gonna be laughing it up when she chooses Noel at the end of this. This puts me in the perfect position for Felicity to either choose Noel at the end or choose herself and be on her own. And I say that is a big win for me, baby.
I don't know if it's a win for you specifically if she chooses herself. That just means that neither team wins.
That's still a win.
That's everybody. Everybody in the room wins.
Yeah, because honestly,
neither of these guys.
I am so not competitive that if nobody wins, to me, that is a win. But like a competitive person does not think that way. If nobody wins, you both, because you're both very competitive.
Everybody loses.
Very competitive. Yeah.
I am happy if nobody wins because that means that everybody wins, and that makes me very happy. But I don't think that you both understand that psychology.
No, not at all. Not even a little bit. So, Lindy, let me throw it to you. I'm going to give you the list of topics we have to discuss today, and you're going to tell me where you want to go first. Obviously, we have the love triangle. We also have everything going on with Javier, and I kind of lumped in the Dean and DeLuca stuff with him. We have Noel and Richard. Elena and DeForest, and then, of course, as previously mentioned, Sean and Megan's therapy session. Where do you want to start, Lindy?
Wow, so many choices. They're not all great ones.
Yeah, fair enough.
I noticed that you left out Molly because she's such a non-factor that even though she was in this episode, she's not really a topic.
No, she gets lumped into a different topic because literally no one gives a single fuck what's going on with Molly. No fucks were given on her.
And you guys always talk about that, and I have to agree. I don't like her. I don't understand why she's here.
Why did we bring her back? I thought we were like so easy to be like, bloop, there she goes, goodbye, off across the pond, go back to the UK, and she's back already, and it's annoying. And she's have dumb hairstyles, and I just generally hate her. But yeah, Lindy, where do you want to go?
Maybe we start with Noel and Richard because I thought this was stupid.
Okay. I don't know if this is a spicy take. I don't know if this is something that anyone else has thought of. Richard is faking this entire thing. Richard didn't go to the administration at all because in what world is the administration for this NYU, kind of replicate caricature? They're gonna let Richard dole out the punishments for something that Noel did? This makes no sense, right? So for people who didn't rewatch the episode, Sarah, Richard says, listen, the administration has this tape. They know it's you, Noel, and you're in big fucking trouble. You could get expelled. And Noel says, please, Richard, clean this up for me. And Richard is like, okay, Noel, but just for you, I will go talk to the dean. I've talked to the dean. He has a plea bargain. You have to restock 40 buildings worth of fucking bathrooms with toilet paper. In my opinion, this is a whole farce. This is Richard's job. For some reason, he has a job refilling the toilet paper in all the bathrooms, and now he has pawned it off on Noel.
It seems as though you have been watching too much Severance because I don't think that there is a secret plan under the plan. I don't think it's that serious.
The administration trusted Richard?
I think that there could be a layer of Richard trying to cover Noel's tracks for him so that Noel doesn't get in trouble. I don't necessarily think that Richard escalated bringing the tape to the administration. The administration is relaying the information. But at the end of the day, the biggest issue to the TPing situation is that toilet paper costs money, and that is especially in the year 2020, that was liquid gold, baby, or paper gold. So I think as long as the paper is replaced and the mess is cleaned up, then it is something that can get swept under the rug. Why are we? I feel as though there could definitely be worse vandalism that is more permanent.
So, Lindy, where do you fall? Do you think Richard is telling the 100% truth to Noel about this entire situation?
I didn't come up with a theory that he's faking all of this, but I did think it was very strange that Richard is this liaison between Noel and the administration, where if Noel is in serious trouble, he should be talking to them himself to make sure that he doesn't get expelled. Shouldn't he care more deeply about this problem that is his fault? I mean, he's the one who TP'd the library. He should be concerned and not trust Richard, of all people, to handle this for him.
Yeah. Richard, who wears a leather bucket hat while singing karaoke, is the liaison for basically NYU.
I don't know. It feels very safety patrol officer or people. Gosh, what was I hate that I always reference Harry Potter, but wasn't there
prefect?
No, not the prefects. After that, where they were safety patrol officers and the students were
with Umbridge.
Was it Umbridge or was it in book
she had
6
her
or 7?
Student army.
The students were giving out the punishments at one point in time. And it feels very that Richard is an elected official at NYU and he is doling out the punishments.
This just felt it both felt unbelievable that Richard would be the one that is like Lindy said, liaising between the administration and Noel, and also the punishment of like putting toilet paper in 40 buildings, which
Why?
each one has what, like they said, like 4 bathrooms, and that would
They said there were 200 bathrooms.
That would take that is hours and hours and hours of time.
Yeah,
Like, that would take so long.
They stole resources from the school. So it is like whatever equals the amount of resources that were stolen and used. If they stole 40 bathrooms worth of toilet paper to TP the entire giant ass library, then of course then he should replace it. Like,
I'm not saying it's not fair.
If it's that, or if it's you get expelled, then I would be going to my local Kroger and loading up on the TP. I don't want to get expelled.
The punishment fits the crime. It does make sense.
Crime. It fits the.
It does. It's just
it
silly.
is fair. It might be silly, but it's also silly for a fucking 23-year-old to be TPing a library for no fucking reason.
Well,
like, this is elementary school shit. You know what I mean? Like, this is not like a proper 23-year-old behavior. And somebody else, I forget who, if it was you, Jess, or one of our listeners, how they were like, yeah, like it's not going to be, it was Todd. It's not going to be like Richard or like whomever
cleaning it
that's
up.
going to be cleaning it up. It's going to be the librarians, it's going to be the custodians, like, you know what I mean? Like there should be a punishment, and if it is refilling the bathrooms, then that is a just crime, or
I do
punishment rather.
I want to bring up the other unbelievable aspect of this entire situation, and it's the fact that no one else was recognizable on the tapes. When we know no one else in this freaking college has Felicity's ridiculous haircut, she is so easily identifiable in any video she would be in. And so the fact, and we do get Richard saying to Felicity, like, I know it was you, and I know like Noel is taking the fall for you. But I just did find it funny that of course Felicity doesn't get caught, even though she's easier to identify than Noel is for sure.
By any chance, was she wearing camouflage, Lindy?
I don't think so. I mean, we saw them do it. I don't think they disguised themselves very well. They were just
is she a vampire? Is she not being able to be caught on camera?
That's an interesting theory. Probably not, but you never know.
Yeah, it's not Buffy, but you never know. Secretly a vampire, we'll find out in season 4. So that's kind of the extent of that whole punishment. Noel does end up refilling all of the toilet paper, so he seems to be off the hook. I legitimately thought that after Richard like yelled at Noel and told him like, I got to talk to the administration and blah, 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 and Molly was sitting there, I legitimately thought he was going to turn to her and be like, hey, got him. Like, it was so unbelievable to me that this was actually like expected to be believed, that this is how this would work. But you know, whatever. Can we talk about Elena and DeForest? Because we're on the topic of karaoke with Richard's ridiculous. Richard is not good at karaoke.
Can I say potentially a hot take? I don't think Richard's karaoke performance was that bad.
Yeah, I agree, actually.
Like, why would you cut him off in the middle? It's karaoke. Not everyone is a professional singer. It's just for fun. And he was having a good time.
I totally agree. And I thought that like he has like a naturally better voice than maybe DeForest. Because DeForest needed the support of Elena.
He wanted the support of Elena. He didn't need the support of Elena.
He needed it. He needed it. Yeah.
I'm looking up right now. What was Richard singing? Do you remember what song he chose?
He was singing Jesse's Girl.
That's not a bad karaoke choice, I will say, because most people know it. So, like, I think you want a song most people know or able to sing along with. It's not the worst song to choose.
Mm-hmm. I feel like Jess, like you are a karaokeer. You would karaoke, and then what is your chosen karaoke song?
I've actually only karaoke'd like twice, maybe, in terms of like those like the public group karaoke things. But of course I'm choosing a Journey song. I don't care if it's basic. It's a classic. Everyone loves Don't Stop Believin'. It's a great time.
I don't love that song.
Well, I think you need to get better taste then. I think it's the answer. I think it's the answer to that.
Like the thing is, like, everybody loves. I feel like that is a big hyperbole.
Everybody knows it.
That is probably a fact. Yes.
Yeah.
That is a more accurate statement.
What is your go-to karaoke song, Sarah, if you had to choose one?
No, I'm too shy.
Okay. Yeah. Yep. Sarah, classically shy.
I am. I'm too shy.
Classic. You definitely wouldn't find out where your dentist lives or
that is
just know
so,
your dentist's birthday.
That's so different from
so
singing.
Shy.
That's so different from singing. That is insanely different. Like, I can't even compare the two. Like, it is so embarrassing to go up and sing, especially when you don't have a good voice, but having a conversation is not embarrassing.
This is so funny because I agree with Sarah. However, I am the opposite of her. See, I think they're totally different, but I would be fine doing karaoke in front of people, whereas having a conversation with someone I don't know and becoming friends and finding out their address, it just sounds terrifying to me.
Yeah. I'm with you, Lindy. I'm the same way. I'd rather sing in front of a group of people with karaoke than like have a very intimate conversation one-on-one with someone.
No, I feel like for me, getting invited to karaoke is probably my worst nightmare. And actually, it reminds me of like one of the first times that Adam and I were like out publicly with friends. And as a couple, and we went to like a Broadway show, and then we went to karaoke after, and it was like our friend Brenna, her husband, and then who else? Kevin Mahadeo was there, his two friends that I hadn't met before, and our friend Andrew. It was like a good bunch of people that like I knew and then he knew, and like everybody had to sing, and I was absolutely mortified, especially because Adam and his friend Joey and Kevin Mahadeo as well have amazing voices. And I was like, I literally wanted to kill myself.
What song did you pick?
I can't reveal. Like, I'm just.
What do you mean you can't reveal?
Like, I reveal so much on this podcast. I will talk about my sex life all day.
Yeah, and you won't reveal a song you sang for karaoke?
No, it's too embarrassing. I can't.
That is like, ridiculous.
Like, I give so much to this podcast, but I can't give this. I can't. Like, I think that karaoke and singing in public is, especially when, only when you don't have a good voice, is literally the most embarrassing thing that you could possibly do.
Wow, I didn't know we would ever reach a boundary that Sarah wouldn't cross, but apparently it is what her karaoke song is. I thought DeForest and Alina doing Play That Funky Music was also a great choice. It looked like they were having tons of fun. And this is something I really liked about DeForest Lindy, is that he pulls Elena out of her comfort zone, and not in a way that makes her uncomfortable, but like she enjoyed herself when she was on stage. And I don't think she would have done that if not for DeForest pushing her to do it. So I was really happy to see it.
Yeah, I think overall I liked this episode for Elena. I like that it was funny how she was so surprised that she had such an amazing time at karaoke. She was like, I just got up there and I did it, and wow, this was great. So I'm happy for her and interested where this relationship goes.
Sarah, I have a question for you as well about this. Would you dance if I asked you to dance?
I hate you.
Would you run and never look back, Sarah?
No, I wouldn't. Okay, I gotta go.
Did you cry? You saw me crying, Sarah.
She actually just left the podcast.
The reason she has left is because as we do, we share friends in our friend group. And so I just had to contact a little friend and see what song Sarah sings.
Friends, my husband.
I will not tell you. I am able to keep that secret. But Sarah sang "Hero" by Enrique Iglesias.
Jessica, if you want to play this fucking game, I can ruin your life. I can. I really could ruin your life. If you want to play dirty like this, then play ball. You think that I won't be savage enough to reveal your fucking secrets? I will ruin your life, bitch. I will. I will.
Karaoke song.
Oh no, okay, I need to step in here. This needs some mediation.
Yes, you're the mediator, remember?
As the therapist on this podcast. Okay, Jess, pretend to be Sarah and describe how you feel about what just happened.
I feel like I'm very precious about the karaoke song that I choose. I'm wondering if I serenaded Adam this song also. I'm picturing myself singing this song. And honestly, it's a pretty great pick because I do think most people enjoy Hero by Enrique Iglesias. So I'm proud of my performance. Sarah. Oh, sorry. Jess.
I have no respect for a friendship that I've kept for 5 years. I have no problem revealing my co-host secrets when she says that she doesn't want to share something, even though when I don't want to share something, my co-host respects my boundaries. I feel like that is true as Jessica. I feel like Sara respects all of my boundaries. And I'm revolted with myself that I would go to Sara's husband and get this information.
Wow. Okay. That was such a productive session. I will see you next week.
Because who else would it be? It would be Kevin. You went to Kevin. Kevin's too busy. You went to Adam.
Okay. I have confidential informants. I will not reveal their names. Moving back to Elena and DeForest. Sarah, I am curious to know your thoughts on this because I know we were like not enjoying, we're like, oh, it's going to be a pity thing. It's always going to be about DeForest's weight. Like we weren't really enjoying that aspect of the storyline. But how do you like it now that Elena is like, I'm not the one who's obsessed with the way you look. You are. And like, I really want to hang out with you and you just keep pushing me away.
I guess it's true. Like, I don't think it's not necessarily true that DeForest is the only one that cares about his weight. Like, maybe between him and Elena, I think that society cares about his weight. I think that the media, especially in the 90s, cared about his weight. I think that there's probably women before him or friends or even somebody as close as his mother or father could probably care about his weight. Like, I think that it's unfair for Elena to be like, you are literally the only one in this world that is worried about your weight, because I think that is clearly not true, especially with the social standing of the 90s about how you have to be skinny, and everybody was literally doing fucking cocaine to keep skinny in the 90s. So like, I don't necessarily think that is true. I think that maybe there is a certain situation where like Elena really doesn't care about the weight and she's frustrated that he keeps pushing her away, and that is something that is like, it's not true for Elena. However, I do think that it's a valid reason for DeForest to feel this way and put up those boundaries, because I think it is a learned feeling that he is going through. I think that this is something that has been embedded in him and probably us as well as children of the 90s. I think that like my relationship with looks is heavily influenced by media and the ways that things were brought up, and I think that like that's part of the reason why like I'm constantly trying to attribute myself to a like a look or like a perfection that like is very impossible to reach, because that's how we were brought up. So that maybe be like a bigger like a sociological psychological conversation in this world, but I think that like, yeah, maybe Elena is right where she's not really thinking about this, but I definitely think that DeForest has a reason to think that everybody is thinking about it besides him.
Yeah, Lindy, I think that like while Elena brings some baggage that maybe she has with Tracy about like, you know, religion when it comes to relationships, right? Like there's certain baggage people bring in from prior relationships. I just think this is DeForest's, that he's learned from prior people he's dated, from just living in the world, that they're not always going to be accepting of him, or it's always going to be an issue. Like whether if it's like oh, now you pity me, so that's why you want to date me. Or this is always going to be a thing that comes up for him. And so his gut instinct is to push someone away before they can get too close to hurt him.
Yeah, and it makes sense. I mean, everyone has certain insecurities. They're not they're not all the same, but everyone's got something. And a lot of times that is something you have to work out like early in a relationship. And so I truly understand where DeForest is coming from. I was disappointed on Elena's behalf when she invited him in, and it was so like spur of the moment. It wasn't like the last episode where she like went over to kiss him and you could tell that she was just kind of like, I should do this, so I'm gonna do it. Whereas this seems so natural, like, oh, we've been having this great time, hey, let's continue, come in. And for him to shut it down because of what had happened before, I was disappointed for them, because I was like, no, like, you can tell, like, she just wants to hang out with him, and who knows where it could go. But I do understand, based on the conversation they had afterwards, that yeah, you've got baggage from things that have happened in the past, and I like that they talked it out, and now maybe they can start fresh and see where this goes.
Yeah, they do have a nice little smoochy smooch in this episode, and I especially appreciated the depth of DeForest's insecurity. Like, I liked that he brought up, like, if we did start dating you, then what am I just supposed to be grateful you would even date someone like me? Like, I thought that was actually a real thought that would go through someone's head. And I think it's also I think it goes deeper than that, in that he thinks, oh, if people see us together, they're going to think, oh, wow, he's so lucky. Oh, wow, how did he snag a girl like Elena? And a lot of it is just insecurity. But Sarah, insecurity can drive us to do a lot of things, especially self-sabotage, which is what DeForest is essentially doing. And I will say, to give DeForest credit beyond just blaming it on his insecurity, he has a reason to feel this because of that, like, quote unquote, pity kiss from like a few days before.
I still am not totally convinced that was like a pure pity kiss, but yeah, I guess so. I think that it's just so interesting, the amount of baggage and like our past that we bring into relationships and how it affects current relationships. And that could be romantic relationships or even like jobs, like like baggage that you bring from one job to another. Like, I think that it's really interesting to try to not let your past experiences hinder your current ones, because they're totally different people, they're totally different relationships, but it's very, very hard. Like, I can definitely relate to that as well. And I am glad to see it continuing. I'm surprised. Like, last week we were talking about like, oh yeah, like I think it could be ending this week, or like, but we saw them at the he went to the bar mitzvah, they held hands, he wore a blue tie. That means that he's probably committed. So very interested to see where this goes. And I'm very excited about this Elena storyline, because I genuinely think that this is the first time I am interested in an Elena storyline.
Well, no, you liked Turk or Donald Faison. Tracy.
I did. Okay, so then this is by far the first season that I'm
happy that we're getting DeForest as a character, because I liked Tracy so much that like it really stunk that like then they broke up and then he's gone, and it felt like there was this massive relationship ending sort of thing where they couldn't get on the same page about religion. And again, we've talked about this before, like it's not always a deal breaker, but for them specifically it kind of felt like it was. And so I'm excited now that she has DeForest, and I hope nothing happens next episode, Lindy, to where like we're ending the season with all this. Now Keenan can't come back for the next season, so we're just gonna end it after one episode. I really hope that's not the case, because I'm enjoying them, what little we've gotten of them so far.
Yeah, I haven't seen anything past this episode, so I have no idea what the future holds. But I'd be kind of surprised if Keenan is in the whole fourth season. Like, that doesn't. I don't know. I have no idea. I just assumed that he would just be a guest star. So, but I don't know.
We've proven we're terrible at guessing these things based on the evidence of, Molly, hanging around. So
Molly's going to be in season 4.
God help us all if she is. I really hope not. I really hope not. Oh my God. Okay, let's talk about Sean and Megan, because the Javier, Dean, and DeLuca love triangle thing all kind of goes together. So, Sara, they have now committed themselves to couples therapy. I feel like this couples therapist sucks.
I mean, like, I've never gone to couples therapy, so I don't actually know how it really is. But yeah, she didn't seem very helpful, because I think like the very first thing that I know about couples therapy is that you can't use I terms. Oh no,
Right.
you terms. You have to use I terms. And I feel like that's where we start off right away. Like, I think that the exercise of like, I am my partner is me in this role-playing skit just leads to name calling, and I feel like that was very unproductive. I do feel like the exercise that they did where it's like, I love my partner, but this is how I feel, could be good, except once again it turned into you terms in this situation. It was interesting how we kind of wound up here, because I seriously do think that there continues to just be a lack of respect and empathy towards each other, towards Megan and Sean as partners. And if we just like, it really, and also I feel like Megan was really mean in this episode, like really, really mean. And I felt really bad for Sean, because I don't agree with the statement that Sean only cares about himself. And like, I don't, or like he only focuses on himself. Like, yeah, he's a creative, but he is a very good friend, right? Like,
yeah, I think I understand where Megan is coming from. I don't think she's 1000% correct about her statements, but I do think that her saying like he makes everything about him, I feel like where that's coming from is he is an entrepreneur and he tends to hyperfixate on things. He like gets wrapped up in one thing and he focuses all of his attention on it. So the documentary, smoothies, now it's this bar mitzvah. And I think when that sort of thing happens, because as someone who also hyperfixates, I feel like you could be seen as someone who doesn't take anything seriously because you're never committed to one thing. It's like whatever is in front of you at that moment, you're committed to, and then you move on to something else. And I think that that is how Megan is reading that thing. And especially because he's such a passionate person and he's very passionate about what his current hyperfixation is. And so yeah, I think there are times like when Megan's friend visited that Sean was about himself. And, he only cared about the documentary and showing her the documentary and everyone sitting down and watching it. There are times when he can be like that. But generally speaking, Lindy, I would not say that Sean is like a selfish, self-obsessed sort of character.
I wouldn't say so either. I mean, I feel like he cares about people. He's tried to help people. He doesn't always give the best advice. Like when he told Ben, like, oh, you should break up with Felicity. It's too serious. Like, what was that, season 2?
Bad, yeah.
But I think that came from a place of like, I'm trying to help Ben. So yeah, no, I don't think he's selfish like that. Yeah, I continue to be a bit annoyed by all the Sean and Megan fighting. Like either work it out or maybe it's not meant to be. I thought they were super cute at first, but now just the constant bickering and breaking up and having to go to therapy. I mean, how long have they been dating? Not that long, right? Less than a year.
Yeah.
But the one thing I did like from them this episode was when Sean was just like, I dare you not to break up with me and to show up to our appointment. And then she's like, fine.
That worked. Yeah. But it's like, once again, he has to play games with his girlfriend, which is so annoying. I think it's like very interesting, like how they do care about each other, and Megan really, really cares about Sean, because like to see her, like how she visibly softened up when she heard that Sean like lost the documentary, how they considered him a joke, and like it's like we talk about like Megan's people are her people. Like when she loves somebody, she loves them fiercely. Like she can dig at them, but nobody else can. And to hear when she heard that like those other producers were like making fun of him, she was so mad for him. And she softened up. I do love that Megan does that, but I just wish that she could like meet him with I guess like I just wish that I wish they didn't fight so much. I wish that she didn't threaten to like break up with him. Like it's not sustainable for a relationship. So maybe they're just not at this time mature enough to be in a relationship, and they're, I don't know, 20, well, she's like 21 or something. We learned like 27. But also, so I don't know. And it was also very interesting to hear like her being like, "You're kind of like a fucking joke." And I felt like that was a level of disrespect that I don't know how they can really come from that.
There are certain thoughts that she had about Sean that, in my opinion, are like okay to have and not really okay to like vocalize, at least not in the way she said it, where maybe it's true that like he does tend to like hyperfixate on things and then try to get everyone else involved in his obsessions, like smoothies. But at the same point in time, I feel like it's incredibly disrespectful to say, I think your religion is just a fad you're going through. Maybe that is like a nagging thought you have in the back of your mind, but I don't think that's something you should vocalize, because if you're unsure, then you're risking like really, really hurting someone's feelings and disrespecting their beliefs on a whim that you think that this is a fad. You know, this feels like the stuff that, here's what it is. Here's where I stand, Lindy. I think a lot of their problems could be fixed by Sean and Megan having a little vent sesh with a friend. Like Megan talking to Felicity, "Can you believe Sean? Oh my God, he's so obsessed with smoothies right now." I think like if you get that energy out of you, then it doesn't build up to the point where you are like spilling over with negative thoughts about your partner. And maybe their problems are bigger than that. But that was just one thought I had, was like, what if each of them had a little a friend they could go to vent about their partner? I don't think they would build up this resentment towards one another so easily.
No, that makes sense. I mean, they do have friends, so why aren't they doing something like that?
I feel like they should. I think here's the thing. This is not a spicy take. It's okay to like be annoyed with your partner. And it's even okay to tell your partner you're annoyed with them, as long as you're not doing it in the way that Megan does, which is very cutting and, like, in my opinion, with intent to harm. Like, the way she's saying those things, the only result is that you're going to hurt Sean's feelings. And maybe she didn't know, right? She didn't know that the documentary people made fun of him. But even still, to like say that the bar mitzvah, oh, it's just another way to make things all about him, that's just really unfair. And I think, Sarah, with something as touchy as religion, it should be handled more delicately than Megan is handling it. She lumps it in with everything else.
She does. And I think like that was pretty hurtful. And I also think that her being like, you are like a 27-year-old, you hang out with 21 like college kids. Like I felt like that was also like pretty malicious and like a hurtful, like, once again, it's just like she kind of thinks that he's a joke, and like I just don't know how you like really come back to it. They do wind up like making up, because like Megan admits that she's like being very hurtful and that she was wrong, and like like the therapist said something that was kind of funny. It was like, just because there's a kiss doesn't mean like you're at bliss. Like there's more work that you guys have to do. And I totally agree with that. So I just hope that they don't think that like they're like magically cured now, because it's just like in the same habit of what they've been doing. And I would like to like dig deeper. Like, does she really think that her boyfriend is a loser? Like, does she really think that like he should have friends his own age? Like, in reality, like I think that like I don't know, when you're like 46 and if you have a friend that's like 52, like is there really like that big of an age difference? Probably not, but maybe it does feel like that. Like 30 is like very different from 20. So I don't know. Like I feel like these two have a lot more work to do, and I just like if they're continuing on this path and not continuing, I guess, therapy, I guess like this is helpful to them. We'll see. I don't know if like we're never going to see that therapist again or it's going to be a continuation, but it's just not a sustainable relationship. Like they're it's not going to work out. Maybe it's one of those things where like they're the right people for each other, but not this time. Like let's check back in 10 years. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Lindy, I want to get gut instinct from you. We've basically spent all season with Megan and Sean bickering because they got together at the finale of last season, right? So where do we see this going from here? Are they going to end the season together? Are they going to return in season 4 together?
That's such a funny question because they break up every episode. So it's like, yeah, they could break up next episode and that's the end of the season, but then they could get back together by the end of the episode. Like with these two, it's not something permanent like you would expect if like Felicity and Ben broke up. So I don't know, maybe they'll finally stop the trend and they actually won't break up next episode. Like that would be something different. So maybe they are gonna end up together at the end of season 4 and they'll just miraculously stay together right now.
That'd be nice. I just really hate it when people use like I'm going to break up with you as a like fighting tactic. Like I like very much in my previous relationship and my current relationship, like I will never use like we're broken up like until it's like the end. Like I don't throw that out as like a tactic or like a way to fight. Like it's just like because I've seen like couples like this operate, like they just like break up, get back together, break up, and it's like it's just so not healthy. And like yeah, I would love to see them to switch up next episode and to not break up. That would be very refreshing.
Well, only time will tell. We'll see if I feel like this is probably going to be an end game couple, so I hope they just figure their shit out so we don't have to play this game next season.
That'd be nice. Yeah. I did enjoy Sean's bar mitzvah. I wish that we got to see a little bit more of it. And also,
I was devastated. I thought this was going to be like I thought we were going to get a whole party out of it, Sarah.
I thought so too. And also, like, why did like none of his family come? His parents weren't there. Like, doesn't he have a brother? Maybe, I don't know. Like, why his bar mitzvah guests included like DeForest and Molly, like people that he didn't even know. Like they can come invite, they can come, but you know, not my parents.
I was not happy about this.
The rabbi wasn't even the hot rabbi. He was an old dude. Who's that dude? That was bullshit too.
Yeah, no, it wasn't hot rabbi. I don't know who this guy was.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
unless
dumb.
that was it could have been the cantor because you practice your bat mitzvah with the cantor.
Okay.
And not the rabbi sometimes. Yeah. Maybe. I don't know.
Let's talk love triangle. We pick up the episode like where we left off. Felicity is like leaving after Noel has kissed her and asked her like, you're telling me you don't feel like this? And Felicity, I thought the way she reacted to this was interesting, Lindy, because she says, well, this whole year has been a lie because you've had feelings for me and haven't said anything. And he basically says like, yeah, I don't remember the last time I felt about like just a friendly feeling towards you. So it's been the whole year. What did you think of the way Felicity reacted to this, saying that like our relationship has been a lie?
I mean, it's complicated. I mean, she's been in a relationship with Ben, so it's not like, oh, they've both been single and Noel just wasn't telling her and they were good friends and she's like, why would you do that? It's like she's in a relationship, so why would he tell her how he feels when like that's just not gonna get them anywhere. So I can understand why you wouldn't want to reveal that while she's with Ben. But at the same time, like I don't know. Like it shouldn't be on Noel's part. It shouldn't be like, oh well, I was only friends with you in case I could later get back together with you. Like that's not a good feeling for Felicity. So maybe that's more of where it comes from of like, well, are you only friends with me because you think we might get back together? You might break up me and Ben. Like that, I mean, that's kind of maybe the lie there.
Yeah, that's interesting. I hadn't thought about it as like she's viewing it as like, oh, so you were just being friends with me to get back together with me. But I don't feel like that's at all the case. Like, Sarah, it felt as much, again, I am Team Ben. Like, it does feel like Noel was just being friends with Felicity, and through being friends with Felicity, reignited those feelings that he had for her.
I totally agree with that. I think that is definitely what happened. And I think that when he said that the whole year was a lie, like I think that he was just looking for something to say, to like, you know, like there was nothing more to say. Like he probably wanted to get out of that situation. So he's like, I'm just going to be cruel in that moment. It's like, it wasn't a true statement. Because like, I think that he really did like want to be there for her. And I think that he cares for her. And I think that he of course he loves her, but I think that it took them becoming friends again, or like true friends, maybe for like the first time, for him to be like, oh, like I really do like her as like a person, as a friend, as more. So but yeah, like it's definitely, and I really do like the boundaries that Noel put up this episode. Like it feels like really, really sucky for Felicity, but I think that he knows that he can't be just friends with her. And if like that's
right,
if that's the case, then like he really can't stay in her life, like because it's just not going to be good for him. And he's leaving New York, he's going to Seattle. Like he, like, you know, like maybe he could be nice and just like be like, yeah, we could be friends, and then like let it fade naturally. I guess like that's like another approach to do it. But he definitely put up those boundaries this episode for his own health.
Yeah, this was interesting because simultaneously, Felicity and Ben make up pretty much instantaneously. They're like, can we just forget all of that silly nonsense with Avery? Sure, let's get back together. We're going to go to Boulder, Colorado for summer break. And Ben has like a job lined up or something. And while this is all going down, Lindy, Javier thinks he's taking a heart attack. And I don't understand Felicity's statement of go hail a cab. Ma'am, if you think someone's having a heart attack, get a fucking ambulance in here. What are you doing?
No, absolutely not. That's $10,000. Fuck no. We're going to spend $30 for a cab.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I honestly, like, I guess in New York City, if they can hail a cab right out front immediately,
I suppose
that might be faster than calling an ambulance.
But they don't have the wee-woo noises and the lights. Like, they can't, you know, like, how are they going to get people out of the way?
You can't get people out of the way in New York City anyway. Like it's way too congested. No, I am not calling an ambulance. I pretty much will never go into an ambulance ever because of how much money it costs, because this is America. And I don't want to be bankrupt just to get an ambulance.
That's fair. And so he ends up in the hospital, and for some reason, everything always falls on Felicity's shoulders. In his absence, she is made manager, even though, you know, she's a college student. She has other shit going on. She is left to deal with everything. And I felt so bad for Felicity. I feel like this always happens to her, where it's like on her shoulders, Lindy. And it's so much responsibility.
I feel bad for Felicity. I feel like Javier, I love Javier. However, he always is putting so much on Felicity's shoulders. Like, he asked her to marry him. He asked her to, like, donate her eggs. And he's making her the manager of Dean and DeLuca. That's actually the least bad of all these. But it's after she says, like, my personal life's really busy and I have finals. And he's like, but you're the only one I want to do it. And she's like, okay, fine. I just feel bad for her that Javier is always asking her for these huge things. And how are there no other employees of Dean and DeLuca? Like, she says, like, I'm the only one, like, Ben and I are the only ones working. What do you mean? Aren't there have to be like 20 people who work there. It's in New York City and it's a cafe. Like, there have to be other people. Where are they?
Yeah, I really don't understand what's happening here. And also, wasn't there a whole storyline where Felicity did try to become the assistant manager, but somebody else got the job over her?
Yeah.
Like,
where's that guy
dude?
now?
Yeah, where's that dude? Shouldn't he be the one that's responsible for everything?
And we know Samuel's out of town. So at the very least, we understand why Felicity is the one bringing him his slippers and his nightgown or his pajamas or whatever the hell he's wearing.
Mommy.
Yeah, feeding mommy, of course. So we understand why that is Felicity's responsibility, but then she shouldn't also have to manage Dean and DeLuca. But of course she has to. And this is where shit really goes to hell in a handbasket, because it's like the espresso machine, the little like steam wand thing isn't working correctly. And so she's on the phone with that guy trying to figure it out. Like you said, Sarah, like you said, Lindy, there's no one to freaking work here. So Felicity is like, ugh, I'm going to have to really like, get on my knees and beg Noel to work there because there's no one else who can, and he knows the job. It's like, there's people on the fucking schedule you could call Felicity, but okay. So Lindy, she goes to Noel. Actually, first she goes to Ben and she says, I'm going to need Noel to work there. And Ben has pissed me off to no end as of recently with the bagel nonsense, with the Avery nonsense. I will say, I liked that Ben was cool with all of this. Like, in another world, in another show, in another character, Ben would be like, hell no, I will not work with Noel. I don't want to live with Noel. I don't want to see Noel. He's in love with you. Like, why is he still around? And Ben was kind of like, do what you got to do. Like, we need someone at Dean and DeLuca.
Yeah, I didn't have really any problems with Ben in this episode, I don't think. Though I have had problems with things going on with him in season 3. But yeah. I can understand from where he's coming from this time. He's being really open to Noel and trying to make sure that they get along, mostly for Felicity's sake, which I like. But I was wondering, did Felicity tell Ben about the kiss? I don't think we saw that, did we?
No, this is Ben, from what I understand, this is Ben just saying he's in love with you because he knew that. Like, he already knew it in his heart. So I don't think so.
Well, okay, so then this is really fucked because Felicity was understandably so mad at Ben for not telling the truth about the kiss in Southampton, but then she has a kiss with Noel that was also not her fault, but then goes straight to Ben and be like, hey, can we make up? But doesn't tell the truth about the kiss of Noel did? What a fucking lying whore.
Well, that last part was a bit far. I don't, but in general, I agree. I don't understand how she plans to keep that from Ben, or why she wouldn't say that. I understand she wants to get back together.
I am not defending Felicity because I am in agreement. I think she should be honest with Ben. I also do think there's like a non-zero chance that if Ben finds this out, he full on tackles Noel and starts beating the shit out of him. And so maybe that's why she didn't say anything, because they're also living together. Like, it's more complicated than the Avery situation in that it's not easy to just escape that person currently. Like, Noel is much more embedded in their lives than Avery was, but Felicity definitely should have said something to Noel. There's to me, Ben, my God. Either way, Ben seems okay with Noel working there. So Felicity goes in and she's like, I got to cut to the chase. I know you love me, but still, I need you to work at Dean and DeLuca. And Lindy, I personally feel like Noel was correct here in being like, not my monkeys, not my circus, not my problem. Like, get someone else. I told you I loved you and you don't love me back. So like, no, I don't want to work at Dean and DeLuca with your fucking shitty boyfriend.
I mean, yeah, he has no responsibility to say yes to this. And I'm annoyed because I feel like the only reason this is happening is because of the writing of the show. They're like, oh, like no one else can work this week, so Felicity has to ask Noel. And it's like, that just doesn't make any sense. Like there would be other employees. So I'm kind of annoyed at why this happened. But yeah, Noel has finals too. He's trying to graduate. He has to stock 200 bathrooms. He doesn't have time to work at Dean and DeLuca, nor does he want to. So I understand him saying no. Though I feel like he was a little mean when he was like, next time Ben does something, I won't help you. You're on your own. Okay.
Yeah, that was a little cruel. Where you're just like, next time, like Ben goes to Southampton and cheats on you, and you have an emergency, and like blah blah blah. Don't even look at me. That was a little mean. But
I get where he's coming from with that sentiment because of the whole breakup box, and then like, but at the same point in time, I think it's something you can think that, again, it's one of those things you should think and not say, because imagine saying that to just your friend, even if you don't have romantic feelings for them. That's a really shitty thing to say, because then anytime your friend has a problem with their significant other, they're automatically going to be like, oh, I can't go to my friend because they're judging me and they don't like my boyfriend, so they're not gonna be a shoulder to cry on. It is a shitty thing to say, but I agree with Noel that he should be setting these boundaries. But unfortunately, those boundaries don't last for very long, because after a conversation with fucking Molly, like Molly's like, oh my God, you and Felicity are like the best of friends. And it's like so nice that you could be friends with an ex. And like, thanks, Molly. Thanks, Molly, for your fucking helpful contribution
Molly
to the
ruins
show.
everything.
She does. She does ruin everything. Fuck you, Molly. Get out of here. Oh, so
she's the worst. I was like, yeah, she's only here to pop up and have this conversation with Noel that honestly it's meaningless. Like, oh, you're such great friends. That's wonderful. Like, Molly, you don't know anything.
Who are you? Why are you here? What is happening? And so she basically gets Noel to rethink things. And he then shows up at Dean and DeLuca in the midst of their like sprinkler system going off or something. And there's this seems so impractical, Sarah, that like the only way to shut off the sprinklers is you need 3 people to turn a ginormous wrench.
Yeah, I think, I mean, like that tracks for me.
Does it? I don't know. I've not worked
No.
I've never. Oh,
I don't know.
I didn't know if you were in this situation before.
No.
It's ridiculous. Noel, of course, shows up in the nick of time. Again, like, I think in these moments, I feel like Noel and Ben are both kind of suppressing their toxic masculinity to be like, we can be in the same room together to help Felicity. But the problem here is, Sarah, Noel is not, he's like, you know what? I got to shoot my shot one more time. One more time. Bring it back around. One more time. He offers Felicity the job in Seattle. He says, listen, the job's still there if you want it.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I that was very kind of Noel. Very, very, very kind of Noel. But then Felicity goes to Ben and was like, guess what? I can go to Seattle. So let's go to Seattle together. And then Ben goes to Noel and then is like, thanks for like helping with the job. And then Noel goes to Felicity and is like, yo, if Ben comes, you can't come.
This is ridiculous, Lindy. Oh my fucking God. Because Noel basically says, you can have this job. That is a job. Okay? A job. He's not asking Felicity to come fucking live with him and date him. You can have this job, but you can't bring your shitty boyfriend. That's not how jobs work, Noel. Like, you can't dictate who Felicity brings with her to Seattle. Like, I'm getting whiplash, Lindy, from the amount of times that I'm like, I hate Ben. Nope, now I hate Noel. Nope, now I hate Ben. Noel, you done played yourself. Because I was this close to being on your team for a hot ass fucking second.
What about boundaries once again? It's too hurtful for him.
No.
So only boundaries when it's convenient for you.
You can't tell someone like, oh, I'm going to offer you this job, but when you come to the city, Ben can't come to the city with you. Like, you just can't do that. That's not a boundary you can have. You can say, hey, I don't feel comfortable being friends with Ben, or I don't feel comfortable talking about your problems with Ben. Like, that's a boundary Noel can have. But he can't say, well, if you come to take this job, Ben can't be in the same city. Like, I won't allow that.
That's fucking insane. insane. And I will I'm going to give Ben some credit here. As much as Ben has been a fucking dick this season, I'm going to give him a teeny tiny ounce of credit here. I thought it was pretty mature to go to Noel and say, hey, the job in Boulder fell through. Like, it seems like Felicity and I are going to be in Seattle. I don't want things to be weird between us. Because again, Lindy, if Ben's shittier, he could say to Felicity, fine, we'll go to Seattle, but you can't hang out with Ben, or you can't hang out with Noel. He doesn't say that. He tries to smooth things over with a man who is in love with his girlfriend and is trying to actively break them up. He wasn't before, but he is fucking now. This is ridiculous. And then Noel gets all pissy about it, and he barges out to Felicity and is like, you can't come to Seattle now. And in comes Ben, and he's like, the fuck did you say to my girlfriend? And then we get, the punching that always happens when these two are in a room.
Look, both Ben and Noel have major flaws, but I'm Team Ben. Come on. I mean, Noel, what are you doing? This is not the way to Felicity's heart.
No.
Once again, I'm going to be the last one laughing it up when I win this whole thing. What do I win? I don't know. Actually, this reminds me, Lindy, you owe me $1 billion. So thank you.
I do.
Can
I offer you dinner instead?
Yeah, that's fine. But you have to come here. So.
Okay. Well,
I know. You
better than
you and
better
your
than
partner
$1 billion.
Don't want to come here. Yeah, I know you guys don't want to come here, but you better.
That's
for my
fine,
dinner.
That's
Yeah.
So Noel says, yeah, you can't bring your boyfriend. Big fight ensues. And Felicity's freaking out. She goes to Javier. She's crying. She says they hate each other. I don't know what to do. Like, I don't know how to make them get along. And my answer is, Felicity, they're not gonna get along.
Well,
like, you can't force it.
Yeah, that's what Javier says. This is the best advice Javier has ever given in his life. I swear to goodness, this was great. He said, it's just not going to work out. You're forcing these two hot boys to be friends. It's not going to happen. You can't force it.
Yeah, you want both of these attractive boys in your life, and you can't have it that way. You made your choice.
You chose Ben.
Yeah, if you want to be with Benjamin, be with him. If you want Noel as a friend, that's okay, but you can't make him Benjamin's friend.
That's true. Yeah. And take your man, Ben. Enjoy your yearly ritual of getting cheated on. Salute to you, ma'am.
Yeah. And Javier is discharged, thankfully. He just had a panic attack. Relatable king. And so he gets sent home. Thankfully, that means Felicity doesn't have to be in charge of Dean and DeLuca anymore. And Felicity goes, in my opinion, above and beyond to then reach Noel. Because Lindy, in this time, let's all remind ourselves, cell phones really weren't popular. And so to find somebody, you got to go looking. She checks like 30 fucking bathrooms for this man.
I kind of forgot when I was watching this the first time. I forgot about the bathroom punishment part. So when she walked into the bathroom that Noel was in, I was like, why did she track him down when he's going to the bathroom? What a weirdo. But then I remembered.
What are you doing in the men's bathroom, Felicity?
Yeah, then I remembered, he's just stalking them. But then I was like, how'd she find him? And she said, I went to like 40 bathrooms. Felicity, just leave him a message on his answering machine. Like, I know you can't text him because it's, 2000, whatever. That you did not need to track him down in a bathroom. I'm sorry.
This was so funny. He's doing all the restocking he has to do, and she just wants things to go back to like the way they were. Typical, sort of my best friend's in love with me thing. And he's like, I can't, like, I can't do that right now. Like, I can't be friends with you right now because I want to be more than friends. And he apologizes and he leaves. And she also says, I can't go to Seattle. Like, I'm going with Ben. And he says, I love you too much to be friends right now. I hope you understand that. Like, it's really tough, but again, I think this is the right call. Like, it's unhealthy for the both of you at this point for you to be with each other, because Sarah, like, if one person has feelings for the other, it's always going to be in the back of both of your minds. And it's just going to be harder for them to move on.
Yep, I agree. I think it was time for these two to have some separate time. I know it stinks. I know it hurts, but it's time.
Mm-hmm. And that's our episode. Lindy, one other thing I noticed, I don't know if you've ever worked in, I can't remember, Lindy, have you ever worked in like the food service industry at all?
I have worked at a restaurant. Yeah, I was a server for a bit.
Okay, so it felt extremely unbelievable to me that a business that had some sort of a fire which involved the sprinkler system going off is able to reopen on the same exact day, like an hour later. Like the cleanup involved in sprinkler systems going off is honestly sometimes more detrimental than the fire itself. This was crazy.
Well, I don't have personal experience with that, but I see your point, especially because they don't have any employees to help get it up and running. It's just Felicity, Ben, and Noel. Like, how much work can they get done together?
Not a ton, because they're just fucking fighting the whole time. Oh, this was unbelievable. But overall, I thought this was a good episode. It felt like a penultimate episode. You know, it felt like we're setting things up for everything to come crashing down in the finale. Sarah, we're leaving this episode with Felicity and Noel. They're gonna kind of go their separate ways. He's gonna move to Seattle in like I think 2 or 3 weeks, he said. And Ben and Felicity are gonna spend the summer together.
Yeah.
Is that gonna stay the same through next episode? Are we gonna leave the finale with those plans in place?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Nothing's gonna flip-flop. Lindy, am I wrong to think bitch ass Avery is gonna show up one more time for a little bit more chaos? I kind of want to see it. I'm not gonna lie.
I don't know, because I don't know. It feels like she's kind of done, because she tried to get in there and break up Ben and Felicity, and it didn't work. And I'm honestly surprised. Ben and Felicity like never broke up this season that I remember. Like, they've been really steady as a couple somehow. I don't really understand how. They're really committed to each other, and which is kind of surprising. I thought this show would be dramatic and have them break up and everything, but they're still together, even with the Noel and the Avery of it all. So I don't know. I just don't see them breaking up in the next episode after all they've just been through.
Yeah, that's interesting. I feel like okay, let me recall this. I'm going to talk through a little bit of where we've left each season. So season 1 ended with Felicity choosing to go spend the summer with Ben rather than with Noel. Season 2 ended with Felicity. Where was she going?
She decided to go to the internship in New York while Ben was doing construction in California.
So they spent the summer apart, but they did stay together.
Yes.
I think something is going to happen. Felicity is going to realize she cannot trust Ben, and I think she's going to end up in Seattle. Now, whether or not she ends up dating Noel, like I don't think we're going to start the season. I think we start season 3 with Noel still in love with Felicity, but them not dating, I think.
Okay.
I don't know. That's where I think. Lindy, what do you think? I mean, I know you're team Ben, but where do you stand? There's a lot going on here.
Yeah, I'm team Ben, but that doesn't mean that what I want to happen will happen.
Yeah.
But okay, so if Noel is graduating and he's planning to move to Seattle, like, but theoretically he's still going to be on the show, I assume.
He's definitely going to move back to New York. There's no way he won't.
So maybe he'll go to Seattle for the summer. Ben and Felicity will do their thing over the summer. And then, oops, Noel's back in New York for whatever reason. And it's just another season of drama with the love triangle.
Maybe he dates someone else. Like maybe he like kind of like a Ross and Julie thing where like Felicity is now in love with Noel after the summer, but then he brings someone back to New York with him or something.
Why would she be in love with Noel though?
I don't know.
A random person? Why would a random person be in love with Noel? Is that what you asked?
No. Why would
Felicity?
Why would Felicity fall in love with Noel over the summer?
Because in my headcanon, she's moving to Seattle.
Okay, without Ben.
Right. I think something is going to break them apart in this last episode of the season. Something is going to break that trust in a way that is like going to break them up.
I just don't know. maybe he'll find out about the kiss with Noel. Maybe that's what'll finally break them up.
Lindy, you're so freaking smart. That's so true. That's so true. It could happen. Ben's the one who ends it. Okay, so that's possible. We still have to. We have a couple things to do. We have to give out a winner for this episode of the show. And I'm trying to think who the hell should win.
No.
Ben, absolutely not. Ben was a possibility until he punched Noel, and then I'm like, I don't think so anymore.
What about Elena?
Elena did karaoke. She had a great time.
And she kissed the guy she likes.
Also, if people are yelling at their podcast app right now saying, give it to Richard, he got Noel out of trouble. I don't think so, because I truly believe this was duplicitous on his part.
I don't think anybody's asking that of us.
I'm just saying. I think Elena makes sense to me. Sarah, what do you think?
Yeah, we never give it to Elena. Give it to Elena.
Elena gets the point. Okay, let's get into some feedback. We have first a voicemail from DBK. Let's hear what he has to say.
What up, though, ladies? All right. The question I want to pose this week, I guess, is like, how much of this does this fall on Felicity? Like, how much of it, like, does she know Noel's in love with her and like she's taking advantage of that in the friendship? Because, like, if we're gonna say Noel has ulterior motives, I think it's fair to say that like Felicity's taking advantage a little bit at the same time. I don't know. I push back against both those things, but like, it's just an interesting question. Props to DeForest for getting a good kiss finally. Richard for the point this week because he's stealing the seeds. Jesse's girl.
I told you!
Saving Noel and like giving the business to Felicity. I enjoyed the therapy of it all. The fight, Megan and Sean fighting never really bothered me in many of my watches. I love Megan, and then I like Megan and Sean's chemistry together, and usually their fights are humorous, so it never really bothered me. So I'm curious to see how you guys are taking to the whole counseling of it all. I thought it was pretty good stuff this week. And then Noel's going to Seattle. So what's gonna happen for season 4 if Noel's in Seattle? And then I think that's it for this week, ladies. Until next week. Peace.
Okay. I knew somebody wanted Richard to get. I knew it. I didn't listen to that ahead of time, I swear.
Good call, Jess.
Thank you. So I don't think Felicity's at fault at all here. Like, I think that the way Carrie Russell is playing the character Felicity, it really feels like she didn't know.
I
like
agree.
She didn't. Yeah.
Like the way that the show is presenting it to us, Felicity was so caught off guard by Noel kissing her and saying that he's in love with her. Like, Felicity didn't see that coming. We saw that coming, but it was clear that Felicity didn't. So I don't think she was taking advantage of his friendship in any way.
Yeah, what do you think, Sarah?
I don't think that it was like malicious, but like I still don't know how we can say that. Like, I mean, is Felicity just in La La Land? Like, how does she not know that Noel had feelings for her and like spend all that time with him? I don't know.
I think she just thinks it's like they said they're best friends in that bathroom scene, you know?
I just sniff a little, like, I'm a little suspicious about that, but that's okay.
Yeah. And then the point about Megan and Sean, I guess like sometimes their fights are humorous, but we've just seen one too many storylines with their fighting, you know, like it's every episode at this point. And to the question of Noel being in Seattle, I just think he's going to find a job back in New York. Like, it's New York City. It's not like they're not in like bumfuck Maine or something. Like, they're in a major city. Like, he'll just get a job there, I think is the answer. And he comes back to New York. I don't think the show is moving to Seattle. So, and I don't think we're getting
so interesting, but
I don't think we're getting a Dawson situation where like he was in LA and they had like split the time on the show. I just don't. I don't see that. Okay, let's hear what Tammy has to say about this episode.
Hi, ladies. It looks like Sean is reading Hebrew in the ceremony at the end of the episode. Is there a country's culture and language that you admire and would like to learn more about? Restricted to non-Western European cultures. For me, I would choose Japan. I like Hello Kitty. Some of the ancient and current lifestyle practices sound appealing to me, and the Honda Fit. It's a hot hatchback. And so, Lindy, would you like to learn Hindi while wearing a bindi from Mindy Kaling, the great actress and author from The Office and her own show? And then in general, the terminology of a field is like a language in itself. Music, computers, science, cooking with recipes, magic. Do you have any interest in learning more about a broad or specific field? And as pertains to magic, do you have a favorite Harry Potter character? For me, I love Hermione. She's so smart and hardworking. She's my favorite. Thanks. Bye.
Lots of questions. So,
Lindy, do you like all of the rhymes with your name?
That was great. You could have fit a couple more, I guess. Like Wendy is one that comes to mind. But that was funny because I actually love Mindy Kaling. I watch like every show she's involved with. I think she's really funny. So yeah, I love her.
what about a culture, a non-Western culture, either of you would want to learn more about, a la the Hebrew bar mitzvah situation?
I am dying to go to Thailand. I would love to go to Thailand, and I just feel as though from everything that I've seen, the culture is very welcoming and warm, and the food is amazing and it's gorgeous. So I think like that's definitely on my list.
Mm-hmm. I agree with Temi. Like Japan is interesting to me. Like from everything I've seen in terms of like their technology, the way they use technology, and like there's just certain things I've heard about the way the infrastructure of Japan is laid out that is so different than America that I'm really interested in checking it out. Like Lindy, apparently they have, if you go into, I'm not sure if it's an office building or what it is, but like, you know, when you're walking in the city and your umbrella gets wet, and then when you get to the office, you're like, well, what am I going to do? I guess I open the umbrella inside to like dry it. They have like umbrella dryers when you like walk in, like just like very, very cool things that they do with technology in public places. But what about you, Lindy? Where you want to go? What do you want to do?
I don't know. I mean, anywhere. Not to just steal everyone's answer, but Japan does sound cool. So
yeah. And then I believe this was asked of Lindy because of the relation to magic. Is that correct? Your favorite Harry Potter character, I think?
I felt like Tony was asking all of us, but I can I don't know. I can answer though. I don't know. I mean, yeah, I always liked Hermione because a very, intelligent young woman, which is the age at which I was reading those books. She felt relatable. I also really liked Ginny when I was younger. So I guess those two.
Mm-hmm.
My favorite Harry Potter character is Harry Potter. Firmly.
That's okay.
Mm-hmm.
I'm proud of it. Yeah, Jess hates it, but I'm very proud to say my favorite Harry Potter character is Harry Potter.
Mm-hmm. Growing up, my favorite was Hermione for obvious reasons. I very much related to her. So yeah. We also got an email from Jamie. Hey ladies, so I guess I will continue with my format of the past couple weeks discussing my thoughts on the individual characters. I usually start with Ben, but this week I'm going to go to Noel since I probably have the most to say about him this episode.
All good things, I'm sure.
Here we go. Noel creeped me the fuck out this episode. My jaw was on the floor when he told Felicity it wasn't worth it for her to come to Seattle if Ben was going to be there. What the actual fuck? So the whole job offer to Seattle was just some ploy to get her away from Ben so Noel could have a chance to seduce her. Looks like someone spent a little too much time around Avery. It also pissed me off when Noel threw all of Ben's sins in Felicity's face and said he wouldn't be there for her anymore. If memory serves me correctly, Noel was the one making himself available to her during the whole Ben and Avery saga. Now he wants to throw it in her face because it didn't work out the way he wanted it to. I was all ready to board Team Noel when he made her the breakup kit, but now I wonder what was genuine or if he had an agenda the whole time. I've seen some praise for Noel taking the blame for the toilet paper in the library, but honestly, it was his idea, and he was the one who wanted to do it. Granted, Felicity didn't have to go along with it, but he was the one dumb enough to get caught on camera. Although it doesn't really make sense how the cameras only caught him. So we don't end on a completely negative note.
We explained that, Jamie. I don't know why you didn't see it the way that we saw it.
I will say it did break my heart a little when Noel told Felicity he loves her too much to just be friends. And also when he whispered to her, "I'll miss you," as he exited the bathroom where he was stocking the toilet paper. I think Jamie is spot on in her assessment. Like, everything was an ulterior motive, apparently, this whole fucking season, Noel. We're on to you and your games.
Yes, and. Yeah.
And Sarah's fine with that.
Yeah, she loves it.
I mean, I was very supportive of Avery and her endeavors. So
on to part 2. Now on to Ben. In last week's episode, I said Ben had no right to play the role of the jealous boyfriend after he got upset when he found out about the breakup kit, and I stand by that. However, in this episode, I 100% believe Ben has the right to be the jealous boyfriend. Noel has made it abundantly clear he wants Felicity and is not above using manipulation to get her. I personally think Ben made a mistake not asking Felicity to cut Noel out of her life, or at the very least put some distance between them. I get he doesn't want to be the controlling boyfriend, but Noel crossed a major line. Nothing good is going to happen if Ben keeps hanging around Felicity. That's interesting, because I think if Ben put his foot down and said, "You can't see Noel," that absolutely pushes Felicity away. I feel like he did it the exact right way.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think that would be a good decision.
I will end with Felicity. I agree with Javier's statement about her wanting to have her cake and eat it too. I guess she doesn't want to lose Noel's friendship, but she should be more understanding that it's probably really painful for Noel to have to see her with Ben. Felicity doesn't really seem to grasp that maybe because she always wanted to continue her friendships with both Ben and Noel, even when things went bad in their romantic relationships. She seems to always want both men in her life, whether they're together or not. And on a side note, I thought Felicity looked beautiful at Sean's bar mitzvah.
I did too.
Gotten a full shot of her in her dress. It looked really pretty. I was also happy to see Javier back, and I love how much he adores Felicity.
Yeah. I also thought that Felicity looked beautiful at Sean's bar mitzvah. It's not a hot take. That's my take.
I wish we got to see the whole party.
Yeah, I want to see more from the bar mitzvah. I feel very
the montage wasn't enough.
I feel screwed.
By the way, last week when I said I would love for you guys to do an AMA, it was not out of pity.
I don't know. It seems a little pitiful.
Okay, since the topic came up, I too would love for you guys to do an AMA.
Okay.
Please.
We can maybe
we'll do like this. People should send us in questions. Feel free to send us in questions. Once we get enough questions to actually do an AMA, then we'll do one.
Yeah.
I think that works, because I don't want to say we're going to do an AMA and then no one says any questions in. So we'll just say we'll do one once we have enough.
So embarrassing.
That's what I'm saying. We can't be embarrassed like that.
Everyone would send in questions. Don't worry.
Well, hopefully you do. So send in your questions if you want them.
Here's the thing. If you get an embarrassingly low amount of questions, which I don't think you would, but if you did, you could secretly just go on the internet and like find some questions to ask yourselves and be like, listener Mackenzie asked blah blah blah. Just make it up. No one's gonna know.
No one would know, especially not with the name Mackenzie. No one would know.
Bad example to choose that name, but whatever. Just make it up.
Incredible. Oh my God. If you want to send in feedback, shit90spod.com is the way to do so. You can send in a voicemail, you can send in a message, or of course you can also email us shit90spod@gmail.com. Send us in your AMA questions, send us in your Felicity feedback, because next week we'll be watching the finale, season 3, episode 17, The Last Summer Ever. That's very dramatic.
Very dramatic.
Ever. So we'll have to wait and see what happens there. Lindy, thank you as always for joining us and being our mediator. We really did need one today, so we appreciate your sacrifice.
Well, I hope it helped. I tried my best. I just, emulated the therapist from this episode, which probably wasn't the best the best thing to do, but
it's true. Every therapist on the show has kind of sucked. I'm not gonna lie. I need better therapists. Maybe it's just doesn't jive with my style of therapy, but yeah, Lindy, what else do you have going on? I know you're talking Mythic Quest with Adam. Love that show.
Yeah. Adam and I over on Whirlwind Podcasts are talking about Mythic Quest season 4, which just started. So we'll be doing that every week. And I'm also always on One Indescribable podcast. Right now we're talking about Schmigadoon and the musicals that inspired it, which has been so fun. So all that is over at Whirlwind.
Incredible. Sarah, are you still talking Shameless over on Whirlwind?
Yeah, we have a couple of episodes left of that. And then before Previous Little Liars comes back, myself, Todd, and Tom recorded a PLL season 2 spoiler pod.
Oh, so, I love those. That's fun. I can't wait to listen.
It was a lot of fun. And
I love you guys just getting to talk shit about everyone else knowing nothing. It's just the best.
Yeah. And we really didn't spoil anything past season 2. So I think that if our detectives wanted to listen, they could.
Ooh, I really want to listen. So
yeah, I'm pretty sure you could listen. We were very good. This time we were much better about not spoiling. I had to do so much editing last time. I really messed up, but this time, no, I did good.
Incredible. Well, go check all of that out over on Whirlwind Pods. Of course, you can hear me on Talking Shit, as well as look for The Light if you want to listen to some Schitt's Creek content or some Last of Us content. Go check both of those out. And next week, we'll be back for the season 3 finale of Felicity. I can't believe we're here already. One more season to go, baby. So we will talk to you all next week. Have a good one. Bye.
Just ask. Shit 90 shows taught me.
Shit 90 Shows Taught Me was not filmed before a live studio audience.